Hey teachers, are you looking for some listening activities that you could try out with your iTalki students? Well, don't worry, I got you covered. So as always, hit the subscribe button and let's dive in. So first of all, personally, I found that finding listening activities when I first started on iTalki was the most difficult type of activities that I could find. I think the main reason is because I'm not getting them to produce something like they would in speaking or writing activities, for example. And reading activities, it just seems quicker for me to be able to go through a document and read it before I use it with my students. So for that reason, listening activities was the type of activity that I was the most intimidated by, I guess, when I first started teaching on iTalki. But with that being said, there are tons of listening activities and listening resources online. So today I'm going to talk about just 3 easy activities that you could use with your iTalki students. And by the way, these are tested, as I have used these activities time and time again with my iTalki students, and I have gotten great results, not only in their feedback, but also in their listening improvement. So let's get started with an activity which could be useful, especially for your lower level students when you're teaching the topic of family. This is a warmer that I do with my students, and I call it family members with possessives. So basically what you do is you explain a family member, your relationship with a family member using possessives, and you frame it as a question as well. Because A, a lot of students struggle with possessives, and B, many students struggle with questions, actually. So just exposing your students to the interrogative forms could be useful. All right, so here are some examples of questions you could ask. You could ask, who is the sister of my mother? Or who is my mother's sister? And the answer is, she is my aunt, right? So your student is kind of playing with possessives while they're answering these questions. You can mix this up a little bit more and say, who is my father's brother's daughter? Who is my mother's brother? Or you could even ask them a trick question. You could say, who is my sister's brother's sister? Right? And give them a few trick questions. And, you know, these are things, the nice thing about some of these trick questions is that they are transferable across languages and across cultures. So when your student realizes that you're asking them a little trick question, when you see their eyes kind of light up, they crack a little grin and they chuckle a bit. And especially if you didn't catch them off guard, they feel like they've bested you. And this is a really good way to kick off class, especially with your lower level learners. All right, activity number 2 for listening. This is accent detection. So what you could start off with is just making a little chart comparing the variations between the standard American accent and the standard British accent, right? And after that, you could maybe play an advertisement, or you could play a quick video or an interview for your students, and have them decide whether that is the American accent or the standard British accent. If you want to dive deeper, then you could use other accents as well. You could go into the Australian accent or the Irish accent and see if your students could explain what the differences are between these accents. It could be tricky even for native speakers to differentiate between these accents as well. And you may be surprised by how great English learners are with detecting accents and explaining the variations and the divergences between accents. So this could prove useful not just as a listening comprehension activity, but also in getting your students to practice explaining things. And finally, activity number 3 for listening. This could be done with higher level students, especially with business English students and students who are learning English, particularly for work, if they work in the financial sector, for example. And this is basically matching a description to a stock. So what you could do is pull up a few maybe 3 or 4 stock activity charts from Yahoo Stocks or something like that. Throw it into a Google Doc and then explain the activity of the chart. And what they have to do is listen to your explanation and match the description to the appropriate chart. Another thing you could do, you could integrate IELTS graphs vocabulary into your explanation. You could find some advanced vocabulary for describing charts, such as to soar, to gradually climb, to skyrocket if a stock skyrockets, or the reverse if a stock plummets, if it slip backs, if it drops, right? So they're dealing with higher level vocabulary potentially, and also they're dealing with different structures because you're talking about time. So for example, in March of 2021, the stock plummeted. In May of 2021, the stock rose steadily, right? They could even integrate different adverbs here as well. And if you'd like, you could even have a list of this vocabulary, and they could kind of check off which words they heard in your explanation as well. So not just match the description to the chart, but they could also check off the vocabulary that they have heard. All right, and that is a wrap. So if you would like access to all 20 listening activities, then head on over to my Patreon account. By becoming a patron to my account, you can enjoy dozens of resources for as little as $1 USD per month. All you have to do is click to become a patron right here. And you could make a custom pledge for as little as $1 per month. Otherwise, you could choose to join for unlimited access to all of the resources which I have on my account. And that includes weekly uploads of syllabi and different activities and teaching resources to help you be a fantastic teacher on iTalki or whichever platform you teach on. And I would like to say that your support truly helps me to help you and to help the community here on iTalki. So thank you very much for your support. And there we go. That's it. As always, thank you so much for the support. Hit the subscribe button before you head on out. And until next time, keep smiling.